ladies and gentlemen, and especially my esteemed students of American University of Nigeria here in Yola. Today, in continuation of our law lecture series, we shall continue our lectures on the course on Public and International Law 2, which we could name it here in American University as Law 308. Recall that we've done Law 307 in the fall semester. This is the spring semester with Law 308, that is Public and International Law 2. Now the contents, let me make a rundown of the contents for this spring semester. The contents for the course include international peace and security, international law and the question of terrorism. We shall look at international humanitarian law, even though we did look at it very briefly in the fall semester in 2023, where we shall be looking at it in greater detail again. We shall also look at international economic law. Then we look at international environmental law, which is very, very key and is topical, especially in the light of climate change and the consequences of climate change. We shall look at the law of air and space. Mind you, we have looked at the law of sea in the fall semester. This time we shall be looking at the law of air and space. We shall look at the law of international institutions. And finally, we shall look at international organizations, which will include, among others, the United Nations, which we've always been referring to in the fall semester, but we shall look at it in greater detail, especially with regards to the issues of the Security Council and the veto power thereon. We shall look at the African Union, African Union, which we used to call Organization of African Unity, that's AU. We shall look at the Economic Community of West African States, which we call ECOWAS, especially in the light of recent developments where 3 French-speaking countries withdrew from the organization. That's Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. And then we will look at also the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, that's OIC, among others, depending on the time we have in this spring semester. Now, having looked at the contents of what we shall be going through in this spring semester, let us start with the first one, which is international peace and security. Now, we will look at understanding international peace and security within the context of international law. First, we shall look at the definition of international peace and security. I will just make a simplistic definition. You'll find more detailed definition in relevant textbooks, which I have referred you to here and in the class. I define the term international peace and security to refer to the state of harmony and stability among nations, characterized by absence of war, conflict, and threats to global security. This is a simplistic definition of international peace and security within the context of international, public international law. I think I will repeat it again. I say International peace and security refer to the state of harmony and stability among nations, characterized by the absence of war, conflict, and threats to global stability. Now, having defined it, I will allow you to ponder over the fact whether this definition, as I have it here, applies to what we are having within international within our international law, within the Committee of Nations, whether there is absence of war, conflict, and threat to global peace. With what we are seeing all around the globe, Gaza, Ukraine, and others, definitely it falls short of what we should have as international peace and security, based on my definition. Now let us look at the foundation in public and international law. The principles of international peace and security are integral to both public and international law, that is influencing state behavior and interactions in the global arena. Now, Nigeria is a member of the Committee of Nations, and it plays its own role under international law. So let us now look at the commitment, Nigeria's commitment to international peace and security. Now, first we look at the constitutional recognition. That's the 1999 Constitution as amended, which identifies the promotion of international peace and security as a fundamental objective and directive principles of state policy. Here I'm referring to Chapter 2 of the Nigerian Constitution, which specifically outlines the fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policy. Now, if we look at also executive powers, we see that the president, the Nigerian president, under the Constitution, holds the power to enter into treaties and agreements related to peace and security, with the approval, of course, of the National Assembly. Now, the statutory framework for international peace and security, as we have it, and as Nigeria plays a vital role in it, we'll look at the Ratification and Enforcement Act as one of the main statutory law. Now, role in international relations, the Ratification and Enforcement Act provides the legal basis for the incorporation of international treaties related to peace and security into the Nigerian law. Mind you, we are looking at Ratification and Enforcement Act, where we say, number one, is the role in international relations. We say the Ratification and Enforcement Act provides the legal basis for the incorporation of international treaties related to peace and security in Nigerian law. It also provides for procedure for ratification. The Act outlines the steps and procedures for the President's ratification of international agreements, ensuring compliance with constitutional requirements. Now, having said that, let us look at National Security Agencies Act, since it has a bearing on international peace and security. Now, the establishment of agencies, this legislation establishes agencies responsible for safeguarding national security, addressing issues that may threaten international peace and security. I'm talking about the National Security Agencies Act. And then it also provides or allows cooperation with international entities to enhance security and contribute to global peace. So this National Security Agencies Act is very, very key, because it is the act that sort of smoothing the relationship between Nigeria, or provides the enabling legislation that allows Nigeria to have peaceful coexistence in the Committee of Nations. Now, having looked at the statutory requirements, let us look at the judicial interpretation of what international peace and security is. We have certain cases which I will refer the class to look at, and we shall also look at them during our tutorial classes. We have the case of Federal Republic of Nigeria versus Cameroon, which was a dispute, judicial decisions related to border disputes and the peaceful resolution of conflicts between Nigeria and Cameroon. We shall look at it during our classes on tutorial. We shall also look at the case of Nnamdi Kanu versus Federal Republic of Nigeria. It's an ongoing case, but there are other issues that have already been finalized on it. But it's a case addressing issues of what? Secession and potential threats to national and regional peace. I will refer you to some of these cases, to check up these cases, to read up these cases for our discussion in the tutorial classes. Now, we will look at the application of international law in domestic courts. Number one is reference to treaties. Nigerian courts often refer to international treaties and conventions in their decisions, recognizing them as sources of law. Secondly, it's in harmony with domestic law. The judiciary ensures that international legal principles align with domestic laws to maintain coherence and consistency in our judicial system, which rubs on our peaceful coexistence in the Committee of Nations. Now, let us look at challenges and contemporary issues. Now, there are emerging threats to peace and security. The first one is on cyber security concerns. The increasing role of technology and the internet in potential threats to national and international security. These are issues that we shall also give serious attention to in our tutorial discussions. And then, of course, issue of terrorism and insurgency, by addressing challenges related to terrorism within and outside Nigeria's border. Now, all over the world, issue of terrorism and insurgency is a very topical issue. We have it all over the parts of the world, and Nigeria is not an exception. But in Nigeria, it is becoming more serious with the fact that our neighbors, some of our neighbors that are members of ECOWAS, that give us some security protection, as it were, against terrorism, are no more, based on ECOWAS arrangement, are no more members of ECOWAS. So it is a threat to Nigeria, which are students of international law, public international law, should ponder. Now, let us now look at the role of Nigeria in international peacekeeping. Now, Nigeria, as we used to say in Africa, is a big brother, as it were, had contributed immensely in maintaining peace within Africa and also in the larger international community. For instance, one, Nigerians' contributions to United Nations peacekeeping. Nigeria's active involvement in United Nations peacekeeping missions and regional efforts to promote stability. Nigerian troops were in Lebanon. Nigerian troops were in Sierra Leone. Were in Liberia, Sudan, and so many conflict spots in the world. So Nigeria is a very active player in international peacekeeping. Now, under the diplomatic engagement, the importance of diplomatic efforts in preventing and resolving conflicts. Nigeria has been involved in so many diplomatic efforts. And we have so many eminent Nigerians that have been appointed to go and seek diplomatic efforts to resolve peaceful issues or within countries. The role of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo and presently that of Goodluck Jonathan in the moving around the world to ensure peace prevails by their appointment by the AU or ECOWAS, as the case may be, has been very, very prominent. So Nigeria, as a member of international community, has been very active in diplomatic engagement to ensure that there is peace in the world. So in conclusion, Nigeria is a very important player in international peace, and the issues of international peace in the world is key, as fundamentally, as we are going to see, that was what informed the formation of the United Nations organizations, which we are going to look at in more details. Thank you very much, and we shall see in the next class. Bye-bye.